Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Really good topics to talk about tonight. One of them I kept back. If you watched the lunchtime show, I said I was going to be talking about this, and I will be talking about it. And it's about Ollie having to sell to buy. Coming from a good source, this is as well. So we'll be getting into that and what that means for Manchester United summer. We'll also be talking about another De Gea story. Man United looking for a left-sided centre-back. Also a striker now becoming more of a priority. And also Romano contradicting what has been said about Milenkovic. So very interesting there as well. Lots to get into. But first of all, I'm wearing the clobber as usual. We are sponsored by Boohoo Man. Big shout out to them. Just want to say that as you can see, I'm wearing some of the latest Boohoo Man activewear, which I have to be honest, I've been very impressed with. It does everything that you would want from sporting wear at a fraction of the cost. Plus it makes me look like I'm down with the young folk, which is always an added bonus when you're when you're getting on like me. I mean, look, at least it looks like I can go for a run, which I probably just about can if it's down the stairs. If you want to get your hands on some Boohoo Man activewear or any other items they sell, we have an amazing 40% off when you use the code United Stand, which is all one word at checkout. So if you're in the market for some new clobber, then click the link in the description and get shopping with that. And as I said, this is my favourite top. I don't know whether you can find it on the website, but nice shiny arms, activewear for an active man. Thank you to Boohoo Man, sponsoring the United Stand show. 40% off. Link is in the video description. Get on it. So let's get on with the show as well. Let's have a look at what we're going to be talking about. And this is a topic that I'd kept back purposely. It is Manchester United and their issues around the summer transfer window, which I think many of us are becoming awakened to. We are. You know, the reality is we are not going to sign loads and loads of players this summer. We do not have the ability to do what Chelsea do. We do not have the ability to do what Manchester City does. Some would say we don't even have the ability to do what Leicester and Everton do. But this is interesting. This is coming from The Athletic. That guy, I'm not that stupid to read your stupid comment out. You know, as I've said before, you're not going to catch me out on this channel with stuff like that. Just to explain that very quickly at the start of the show, there is this obsession with certain people at the moment, which has been going on for 2.5 years, where they try and get you to say a rude word, like it might be maths and then debate. So they'll get you to try and say something like that, and then they'll go baited. I baited him, and they'll try and clip it. But the thing is, it was a little bit funny 2.5 years ago. Now it's just tiresome. I feel sorry for these people. Anyway, we move on. So, look, what the story is, it's coming from The Athletic, and this is coming from Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic, who is the Manchester United correspondent. And this is what he said. Manchester United have got money to spend, but sources state sales will be needed before there can be more than one marquee signing. So, potentially what that means is that there is money for, it's not all bad, there's money for one marquee signing, but if they want to make more than one marquee signing, and we do, then we're going to have to sell players first, which is Ollie's going to have to sell to buy, and that's the job Ole Gunnar Solskjaer faces. I said this today. You know, I don't really get it. I don't spend a lot of time reading nonsense on social media anyway, so you get tagged in and mentioned in relation to all stuff. All I'm bothered about is people who are bothered about the United Stand at the end of the day, because ultimately I can have a conversation, a grown-up conversation. I can't have a grown-up conversation with somebody hiding behind some bloody Twitter account. But I do constantly see sack Solskjaer, get this, get that, and I'll have that conversation with people in the live comments here. That's fine. But if you want to sack Solskjaer for a new manager, why? How can you be such a hypocrite? You know, we all sit here so long saying we need a centre-back, we need a right winger, we need a CDM if we want to win a title. But then they say sack Solskjaer and bring in a new manager. But we're in second place. No manager's taken us better than second place. I don't care if they're the best manager that's ever been. So why would you not wait until the summer and see where we are with Solskjaer and what he gets given in the summer? If he doesn't get given those players, it doesn't matter who the manager is. What I would like to see is Solskjaer given those players, see what he does next season. If he can't do it, then you talk about a new manager. But ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that whilst we have this board, whilst we have these owners, No amount of changing managers will ever change anything. I said this in October. Bringing Pochettino in, you're going to be saying exactly the same thing in 2 years. And, people forget that. In October, I was not saying sack Solskjaer. I wasn't. I was saying don't sack Solskjaer because Pochettino will end up in exactly the same place in 2 years. This is the club we are now. Sell to buy. And look, this is nothing new what's about to happen this summer. It happened last year, happened the summer before. We never spend more than about £70 million net spend. So Solskjaer needs a centre-back. He needs a centre defensive midfielder and he needs a right winger. But he's got to sell to buy. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And I don't know how he's going to do it because it's not Solskjaer who sells the players. You've got this person, right, who's saying, I will go and buy you that player, but you need to sell some of those players to get that player. And then you go, okay, I want to sell those players. Oh yeah, and I'm the man doing it. Shit. So whoever Solskjaer says, I want to sell them, the board might say, no, you're not selling them. You're not selling them. And that's the problem we've got. So I would say United have probably got enough to buy Jadon Sancho, which is enough to buy Koundé, which is enough to buy Declan Rice. But anything beyond that, we're going to have to generate that money to do it. And it becomes very, very difficult. Thoughts on Tammy Abraham rejecting the contract? Says Mark is the GOAT. Well, he's a Chelsea player last time I checked. Saw your tweet. How can you rate Ollie as a coach? His tactics are limited. Can't make in-game tactical changes. Picks his fave over his actual ability, says Sean Negative Termer. Second in the league, Sean. Second in the league. I don't disagree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. But second in the league. I don't know. This is what I'm trying to say. What is it you want? And I'm not just picking on Sean here. I respect Sean. He comes up with some very good things, as do all of you. But we're not always right. And all I would say to Sean is, we're second in the league, Sean. What do you want to do? Are you sacking him now or are you waiting until May? Well, in May we might be second in the league. So you're sacking him then? I don't know what people want. They seem to be unhappy with the manager, but totally accept that now's not the time to sack him. So, and also, above all that, like a church spire, there are owners of this football club that if they don't back any manager, whoever you want, we will never progress from second anyway. So we either get Sancho, Rice or Koundé, but all three looks doable, but our board is too inept to make it happen since each deal will take 5 weeks, says Gabriel Noel. I mean, look, I put a tweet out today. It was very tongue-in-cheek. I'd said it on the morning show. I'd said, what was it? Rice, Lingard and money for Rice, Martial and money for Koundé, Pogba for Ronaldo, and Henderson and money for Sancho. If we had a competent director of football, we'd be fine. And so many people took it seriously because they obviously hadn't watched the morning show. But I'm sure that could be done. I'm sure it could be done. You'd need to have Chelsea's bloody negotiating team on Red Bull every day to do it, but it could be done. But I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting United to do one of those deals. But what makes me laugh is that people start taking the piss, saying that it's, he thinks he's playing Football Manager or whatever. But was Fabrizio Romano not on this show a year ago talking about swap deals being the new future in the current climate? We haven't seen that yet, but it is still very much a possibility for teams to do it. But probably not. It probably is pie in the sky with what we've got at Manchester United. But I mean, look, sell to buy is what we're talking about. And look, this frustrates me, but it doesn't frustrate me actually as much as I thought it would. Because if we're saying that we've got enough money for one marquee signing, but if we want more than one marquee signing, we've got to sell to buy. In a sense, it's only what I expected anyway. I expect we've got 70 million, 80 million to spend, which is actually a little bit more than we normally do. Probably because we didn't spend what we had last summer. So if we've got 70 to 80 million pounds to spend on one marquee signing, that could be Sancho, that could be Koundé, it could be a striker, which we'll talk about in a minute. So I accept, as long as we buy that marquee signing, we've got no money left. And anything else we're going to buy, we're going to have to generate. Well, Pogba, 50 million. Lingard, 20 million. That's 70 million. That's another one for you. And then it becomes problematic because, all right, Delon might get you 10. Phil Jones, you've lost 10 to sell him. No, I'm joking. But, that's where it becomes a problem. The only way I think we could do it is if Martial went. And for Martial to go, you'd have to get creative. I think Martial would work, if he wants to go, I think Martial would work in relation to a swapper deal anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be difficult. It is going to be difficult. Of course, I accept that. But the interesting thing is there are some stories coming in that I wanted to just intertwine in this in a moment. But Dean Henderson could go for 40 million as well. You're right. I mean, that's the one. Can I just shout that person out? Well done, Rafael Varane. You can come to this club as well. That is a brilliant comment. So if we've got the marquee signing, we've got money for one marquee signing, and we generate money for another marquee signing with Pogba and Lingard going about 60 to 70 million quid. All right, let's work through this. Roll the sleeves up. Here we go. So we've got 80 million. We buy Jadon Sancho per se. Okay. I'm just working through a scenario. I'm not saying this is the way. We've got the money for one marquee signing, but anything else, we've got to generate the funds. So you buy Sancho with the marquee signing money. Ollie wants a centre-back. He wants Koundé. He sells Lingard. He sells Pogba. He gets around 60 to 70 million pounds. That'll get you Koundé. Okay? So you've got Koundé, you've got Sancho, Pogba's gone, Lingard's gone. You've spent your money. Henderson, Delot, 50 million there. There's 50 million there, isn't there? 50 million there. So that generates another signing. It probably won't get you a Declan Rice, but it could get you a Basuma. It could get you a Zakaria, who's got 1 year left on his contract. Well, suddenly you've just got Koundé, Sancho, Basuma. There's many ways we can work this out, but this is how my mind works, and this is how your mind works, because we care about this football club, and we don't want to just listen to, it's been a COVID year, pandemic. We don't want to listen to all that. We want to listen to solutions. I don't want problems. And if we have the money for one marquee signing and we've got a sell to buy, Pogba bye-bye, Lingard bye-bye, we've got another marquee signing. Henderson out, Delot out, we've got another marquee signing in the midfield. Well, all I want is a centre-back, a CDM and a right winger. Thank you. I'm off on my holidays, if they'll let me. And you know, that's... I mean, Kunwa says we can't sell Henderson. What are you going to do then, Kunwa? What are you going to do? Are you going to go into next season with two goalkeepers on over £500,000 between them and only one can play? How stupid as a football club are we? We have an asset. We need to buy different players. You know what it's like, Kunwa? It's like you want to make a lasagna and you have the mince... You've got the tin tomatoes, but you don't have the layered pasta. So what does Kunwa do? He goes and buys another tin of tomatoes. Like, we've got 2 tins of tomatoes. We've got Henderson and we've got De Gea. We need some layered pasta. Take one of the tins of tomatoes to the shop and use that money to buy the layered pasta, because we're making a lasagna. We're not making a bolognese. So Manchester United need to sell one of their goalkeepers. I like them both. I really, really do. But at the end of the day, it's like being in love with 2 beautiful women. Or men, if you go that way. Because you can't marry them both. And I'm telling you what, you can only take one bride up the aisle. And I'm talking about genuinely walking up the aisle to get married. Nothing sinister like you lot. So this is the situation United have put themselves in. We need a centre-back, we need a CDM, and we need a right winger. Anybody who's moaning, we can't sell De Gea, we can't sell Henderson. Do you realise you've got 2 of the same thing? One of them's got to go, and one of them's worth money that then you can buy with the money you'd get from one of those goalkeepers, because I think they're both worth 40 million in different ways. That 40 million gets you Basuma or it gets you Zakaria. Oh, hello, we've got a centre defensive midfielder and we've still got a great goalkeeper. We've just let one go. So, you know, you've got to think about it like this. And Manchester United should be doing this. And I hope they are. And I suspect they are. I'm not going to bank on it that they are. Ironically, I'm not going to bank on it, even though they are a bunch of bankers. But they should be doing that. There is people out there who will go, we're not going to spend money. We're not going to spend money. We haven't got any money. And I accept that. But if we've got enough money to buy one player, and I think we have, we can generate enough money to buy 2 players. We're in a really good position at United. You know, in previous years, if I said to you, or the rumour is that United are going to have to sell to buy, you'd be crying. You'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake. What am I going to sell? No one's going to buy Jones or Rojo. But now, you've got 2 goalkeepers. One of them's got to go. You've got Paul Pogba wants to go. That's 50 million. You've got Lingard needs to go. That's 15, 20 million. We have got funds to generate. We can, you know, off Henderson, Pogba, Lingard, Delot, you've got about 120 million there. 120 million generated from 4 players selling because people want them. Well, that's 2 60 million signings. Koundé, maybe even Declan Rice. I don't know. But there are definitely creative options for Manchester United to get creative this summer on a sell to buy. And if I was Ollie, I wouldn't actually be as daunting by it as maybe I thought I was when I first heard it. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. And obviously, just going back to the goalkeepers, there was a story in the ESPN today saying that De Gea is facing a fight for his future because Henderson wants to be United number one, or he wants to go out elsewhere and be United number one. As I said, if Manchester United can sell David De Gea for £40 million and they want to keep Dean Henderson, you go ahead and do it. I'm telling you now, they can't do it. It cannot be done because they did what they did with Sanchez. They've given him the biggest wages in the club, and no club in football is going to pay David De Gea £18 million a year. It's more than Ramos wants. It's more than Varane wants. It's more than Alaba wants as a free agent. So there's not a football club out there that's going to give us money for David De Gea and then give David De Gea £18 million a year. So David De Gea has to stay. That is why I say Henderson has to go, because one of them's got to go. I don't like it, but one of them has to go because we've got to use that tin of tomatoes to layer the pasta and make the lasagna. We've got to do it. Mark, did you hear Varane is United's top centre-back priority? Koundé, Badiashile second and third. If that was true, I'd be happy with that. I can't pronounce your name. I think it was Fasawi was the second name, so I'll say that. But I'd be very happy with that, wouldn't you? If Varane was our first choice, Koundé's second choice, Badiashile third choice, I mean, obviously prepare to get Badiashile because that's what United do, third choice. But yeah, I'd be more than happy with that. I would. I'd be really happy if those were the three. As long as hasn't got Ben White, Tyrone Mings or Pau Torres in there, I'm not bothered. Not to depress you, but without Pogba, who's going to create from deep? McFred, we need a midfield creator too, says Sid T. Well, I'm hoping that a certain Dutch guy called Donny will be given that role. But if Pogba goes, we've got to buy a midfielder. You are right. And we do need somebody who... I mean, the thing is, don't think of a replacement for Paul Pogba, because to be honest with you, Paul Pogba's so good. I think he's unique. I know he's a bit inconsistent, but I've always said I think Paul Pogba is a unique midfielder. He can basically do loads of things most midfielders can't do. So replacing Paul Pogba is very difficult. What I would say is, instead of replacing for a Pogba, why not try and find a Carrick? Because Carrick's nothing like Pogba, but Carrick will take the ball off the back four and feed the attack in a very different way to Pogba, and probably a more consistent way. So as long as you've got a midfielder who can take the ball off the back four and play the forward pass well, then, you know, Pogba's departure wouldn't be that big. But Pogba's departure's not on us, is it? Pogba wants to go. Hi from Cape Town. Thanks so much for the brilliant content. The best way to generate funds would be through Pogba and Hendo, I think. Cheers, Mark, says Aidan. I think Man United are in a very lucky position because they do need to sell to buy. Because and anybody who thinks we don't need to sell to buy, how much do you think we need to buy? I think we need about 180 million. 200 million this summer. 3 players, 3 very good players. Centre-back, CDM, right winger. 200 million in this market. 180, okay, maybe, but 200 million. I wouldn't expect any Premier League football club to have 200 million pounds around. Remember, financial fair play apparently still does exist. So in a way, I actually quite like the scenario. I like this scenario. You've got enough money, Ollie, for one marquee signing. If you want more, you've got to generate it. Well, we're in a great position, as I said, because we've got players that people want. People want Lingard. They want Henderson. They want Pogba. That's money. That's over £100 million right there to go with the 80 you've already got. So this is a good situation for United. And of course, it's financial fair play compliant. And it clears players out of the squad. And it takes wages out of the squad that you replace with other players. So again, all right, I was a bit speculative what I said on Twitter this morning about the swap deals, but don't need to swap deals. We can sell players and still generate the funds. But again, you've got to show quality, experience and competence in the boardroom to do that, which is why we all need a director of football. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. We're nearly at 1,000 likes. Also, a big job to get rid of Pereiras, Jones, Delot, Romero, Lingard, Mata, Grant. Director of football would have been on it though, says Kevin Barrett. Well, you know what? I think with some of those, I mean, Pereira, if you can get 5 million, I'd take it. Jones, if you can get 5 pence, I'd take it. Delot, if you can get 10 million, I'd take it. Romero, just let him go. Mata, just let him go. Grant's going to be the goalkeeping coach, apparently, Kevin. So, we're just going to have to be ruthless. and get rid of them, because at the end of the day, they need to go. Just a few other stories to bring you as well. ESPN, these stories are. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants a left-sided centre-back to play with Harry Maguire. I don't believe that story for a start, because Harry Maguire has actually spent most of his career playing as a left-sided centre-back, even though he's right-footed. I don't think Manchester United are desperately seeking a left-footed centre-back. I don't. I mean, I know Badashil's left-footed, Tyrone Mings is left-footed, but would you rather have, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sat in the office and Woodward walks in and says, you can have left-footed Mings or you can have right-footed Koundé? Do you think Ollie's going to go, I told you, Eddie, that I'm not Cavani, what are you talking about? Eddie. Yeah, you call Cavani Eddie. I'm Ed Woodward. Call me Woody. Anyway, I don't know where my mind goes. But would you rather have, you want a left-footed centre back, Ollie, don't you? I do, Eddie. That's Woody. Mings, but I can get you Koundé, who's right-footed. Not good enough. It's not good enough, Eddie. I want a left-footed centre back, and I quite like the sound of Mingsy. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen, because you're just going to go, let's keep Harry Maguire as a left-sided centre-back, which is what he's been doing for years, and let's put Koundé next to him. So I don't think we want a left-footed centre-back. I think if Koundé was left-footed, I think we would be all over it. But who is a top-class left-footed centre-back that is available for Man United to buy? And there isn't actually that many. So I don't think we're obsessed with a left-footed one. Do you rate Sergio Ramos? He's a lot cheaper than most believe and has some great years left, says Adrian Kang. Well, how is it, it's impossible for me not to rate one of the world's best centre-backs. I do rate Sergio Ramos. I don't think Man United will buy him. I don't think he'll leave Real Madrid. I do think it's a risk at 35. I do think it's an expensive risk, and I do think it's a risk in relation to coming to the Premier League at 35, which is it's the best league in the world. Like, we've seen that. La Liga is very different to the Premier League, as we've seen over the last week and the last few months. So I'd take Ramos over nothing, but I think there's a lot of better options. Look, Varane's not as good as Ramos, but I'd rather have Varane over Ramos for many reasons. Age would be a big thing, but also I think the way he plays football would complement Maguire quite well. He's quicker. So... yeah, I do like Ramos, but I just think it's a bit of a mistake. Norwegian sources regarding Chelsea, Manchester City and Real Madrid as the front runners to sign Erling Haaland. I don't think... Yeah, Samyak, I was just trying to see if you mentioned Manchester United. I don't think Man United have got a cat-and-house chance of getting Erling Haaland. No, not a chance. I really don't. And also... Ramos is quicker than Varane. I don't think he is, Richard. I don't think he is. I might be wrong, but I don't think he is. And Super Bowl cash injection from the Glazers. How much money do you get from the Super Bowl, though? I don't know whether that. I've heard of a couple of people talk about that, and I don't think it's actually relevant. And also, I think that the Super Bowl cash will go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and not to Manchester United, or it will go to the Glazers, which is where the Manchester United monies goes. I would love him, but he has a dumb agent, says Polar Bear, which is in relation to Haaland, of course. I mean, that fits into another story I was talking about on ESPN as well. They're saying that basically in relation to Sancho, whilst they retain interest in Jadon Sancho, a striker is becoming more of a priority for Manchester United, which I find really interesting. I find this really interesting because I was reading one of the replies to the video I did. I think it was the lunchtime video where I was talking about strikers and Haaland, and I was saying, why would Erling Haaland? I think as a footballer, I don't think footballers look at a club and go, oh, they've not won a title for a while, I'm not going there. I think they probably more look at the way a football club plays and whether it fits with them. Like if you were, I'm trying to think of a player that wouldn't suit a certain team. So, yeah, but look, all right, what I'm really saying is if you're Erling Haaland and you look at how many shots on goal Cavani gets per game, under 2, are you going to go to Manchester United or are you going to go to Manchester City where you're averaging as a striker 4 or 5 shots per game? You're going to go to Man City because 1, Man City are a better club at the moment, but 2, you are going to be a better player in that system than you are at United because under 2 shots per game compared to under 5 shots per game, you're going to go Man City because it's best for your football career. And somebody said in the replies, well, you're talking out your arse, Mark. Well, this is true. I do talk out my arse sometimes. But they were saying you're talking out your arse because we're the top scorers in the league. And I didn't reply to it because I'm going to reply to it here and now. You make a good point. But we might well be top goal scorers in the league, but that doesn't mean that Cavani's getting less than 2 shots a game, because he is. And is Cavani the top goal scorer in the league? Goals are coming from different areas, but as a striker at Manchester United, the way we play doesn't actually play into the striker that much. The way we play leads to goals for Rashford, for Bruno, but it doesn't lead to chances for the striker because we haven't got people creating the chances for the striker, because Rashford's really a striker at left wing. Greenwood's a bit of a striker off the right. Bruno is a goal-scoring number 10. He can create as well, but he's a goal-scoring number 10. So it would surprise me if Manchester United were now prioritising a striker over a right winger, because it seems silly to bring in a top-class striker who won't get the service. Surely, before you bring your top-class striker in, you bring in your top-class creator, which hopefully could be Diallo anyway. Hi Mark, can you wish me a happy birthday and love what you're doing with the United stand? Hope you're well and stay safe, says Nathan. Thank you very much for the super chat and happy birthday, Nathan. Getting Haaland means dealing with Raiola again. Do we want to do that with that snake, says Marcus Wynn? Well, I don't think we will. I don't think we will. And I don't know whether it's because we don't want to deal with Raiola. I just don't think we will. Thoughts on Milenkovic? I think realistically we will get one centre-back. I wish we get a striker because we have invested in Ahmed. Will you still go for another, says Sakin? Well, Sakin, I must just give you a virtual high five there. Do you want to build a snowman, says Kazim? If you know, you know my story, and on @GoldbridgeMark on Instagram if you want to know what Kazim's talking about. If you want to build a snowman, if you know, you know, at @GoldbridgeMark on Insta. Check my story out. But going back to what was mentioned there about Milenkovic, I'm very grateful, Sakin, because you're leading into something I want to talk about in a moment. But yeah, I don't know what people think about the striker situation, but we're hearing more and more and more that United, well, it was only yesterday we were talking about this, that United want a centre-back and a striker, and one of them will be a marquee signing and the other one will be a cheaper option. Striker keeps being mentioned by United. Why do you think that is? I'm not knocking it. I mean, I think that it's wrong, but I don't think it's out of, it's not left field. It's not like we're trying to buy a goalkeeper, which I think would be ridiculous with the 2 that we've already got. But the striker thing is odd, because I think if you sat down with any United fan who knows United and watches United, or you sat down with any ex-player or any, intelligent Manchester United journalist, you might have to find a few. Simon Peach would be good. He's not a Man United fan though. Simon Stone's good. James Cooper. There you go. You sat down with them 3 and said, what positions do you think United need? I guarantee you they would probably say centre-back, CDM, right winger. I don't think they would say striker. But Man United seem to be going down the striker route. And as I said, it doesn't make sense because we don't create for our striker, like I said. And surely it's better to buy players that are going to give your striker more chances. If we've got a CDM who can transition from back to front, striker gets more chances. If you've got a right winger who can create, striker gets more chances. If you've got a centre-back who can play a higher line and therefore force your team higher up the pitch, striker gets more chances. But if you buy a striker and you don't buy a CDM and you don't buy a right winger and you don't buy a good centre-back, then we're in the same situation as we are now. I just wonder if there's 2 things around this. Paul's got it. Martial is losing backing in the football world. I think there's 2 things here. Ken says maybe there's a decent striker that's become available. That could be a factor. Also, Charlotte Hopper says Pogba or Fred. Pogba. Also, what I was going to say is, I just wonder about 2 things that might mean we need a striker. Because also, remember, I nearly called him Jason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood is going to be a striker, I think. So he's coming through. Martial's there and Cavani's there. Why would you need a striker? I think Mason Greenwood could be, God knows what Mason Greenwood could be. Anthony Martial was our player of the year last year. All right, he's playing badly now, but who knows where he'll be in a year. And Cavani, by all accounts, is doing really well. So why would you need a striker when you've got those 3? The logical thing is Martial's going to go because he's going to want to go, which I've said could be a problem. If he goes, you need a striker. Cavani's going to go to Boca Juniors in the summer. If they both go, you need a striker. So maybe something's going to happen with Cavani and Martial, because that's the only reason I think we could be looking at a striker. Because if those three stay, why would you need a striker? Because you're just overwhelming your striking position, and we only play with one forward, remember. So, and also feed in what I've always said about Cavani. Whatever you think about Cavani, injury prone for the 18 months before we bought him. He's only been here about 4 or 5 months, and he's already had 2 muscle injuries. So maybe there's concern about his reliability. Can you rely on Cavani game to game? So maybe that's what they're looking at. Yo, Mark, I just uploaded the clip of you comparing the goalkeepers with lasagna. Had me dying. Keep up with the work. If you want to check the clip, it's on Twitter at ZBalex. Thanks, mate. Thanks for letting me know as well. People don't always let me know. I hate going searching on Twitter because you just get if you search your name, it's always people going, Goldbridge is a Forest fan, Goldbridge wants Ollie out, Goldbridge is this, that and the other. So I just thanks for that. I appreciate it. Mark, they're going down the street. I really, really, with all my heart, hope they're giving Diallo a run soon, because we spent 30 to 40 million on the right wing. Gabriel Noel, I just think he's got to start tomorrow. I don't know what anybody else thinks about Diallo. I said it at lunchtime. Do you think the board are contemplating selling Martial to go for Haaland and a centre-back, says Marco? Look, all I'll ever say about Erling Haaland is, if Man United buy him, how can you be unhappy with that deal? I think we can all be very worried about the future of the deal, and we would be right to be wrong about it. There is no future-proofing with Erling Haaland. As I said this morning, United thinking he's going to be here for the next 5 to 10 years. Dream on. He will be gone in 3 years with that agent. But if we bought Haaland, do you think I wouldn't be excited? I'd be over the moon. If he goes to Chelsea, they will score loads of goals. If he goes to Man City, they will score loads of goals. If he goes to Madrid, they will score loads of goals. I don't think United will do the deal, because I don't think it's future-proof, and I think it's very expensive. I'd love Haaland to come to United, of course I would. I think looking at how Ollie talks about how he wants United to play and emulate Sir Alex, he wants a target man, old-fashioned number 9, lethal in the box, says Aritari. Well, I won't get excited about the Haaland deal because I don't think we will do it. But I need to go back to Milenkovic. So basically, was it this morning? I think we were talking about Milenkovic on the morning show. Athletic was saying that don't get excited about the Milenkovic deal. It's Nikola Milenkovic from Fiorentina, early 20s, 1 year left on his contract. Good player. Probably quite similar to Maguire in relation to pace. So I don't know really. Well, he's probably quicker than Maguire, to be honest. I'm quicker than Maguire. But he... I'll do a running race with you, Harry. I'll do it for charity this summer. When the season's over, I will beat you in a running race. We'll do it for charity. But people are saying he'll blast me. No. But anyway, I don't think Milenkovic and Maguire would work that well together. I just don't. I don't think they complement each other that well. But anyway, The Athletic was saying this is just his agent talking. There's nothing in it. Interestingly, Romano has come out and said that he won't go to West Ham. Looks like he'll come to the Premier League, and Manchester United have been scouting him. So it's interesting, isn't it? You've got one outlet saying that it's all the agent pushing it, and United, I wouldn't get your hopes up about him going to United. But then you've got Fabrizio Romano saying that, and he is an Italian player, and obviously that's where Romano is. He's saying that Man United have definitely scouted Milenkovic. So, you wake up in the morning, you think Milenkovic is over, and then you get Romano saying, well, we're scouting him. So... And he hints that he'll be coming to the Premier League. So, maybe that's not over. Maybe Milenkovic isn't over. But I would love it if the 3 players that we're looking at are Varane, Koundé, and Badiashile. And I would want to get one of the first 2 targets, really. But I would be over the moon with those 3. Really, really would. And I'm not saying any of them would be I'm not going to say that one of them wouldn't flop, but I wouldn't complain about that. I think when United sign a player and you're excited about it and then they then flop, then you can't be a hypocrite about it. I never really wanted Matic, but I thought he did okay and I accepted that. I never wanted Fellaini and I never really liked him that much, but there were games where he did okay. But I did want Alexis Sanchez, and I hold myself responsible as much as... Well, I don't. I hold the board responsible because they paid him stupid money. I never said make him the best paid player in the league, but I was excited about Sanchez, and he was crap, and I hold my hands up. And I was excited by Mourinho, and I hold my hands up. It didn't work, so I wouldn't have a massive problem with any of those 3 signings. Do you think Ollie wants or thinks he needs a CDM? says Fame. Well, I think that's the $1 million question. I really do. I don't get any indication that United are looking for a centre defensive midfielder. We have heard of Declan Rice a lot, and that's my only hope. Declan Rice, you are our only hope. I think Declan Rice is a player that United have been linked to, but Zakaria is only fans talking about it. Basuma is just fans talking about it. Casido we were looking at, so he's a midfielder. So you hope we're looking at a CDM. I don't know how we're not. I really don't know how we're not. It's the most obvious position for me with the centre-back that we need to do. But I do worry that we're not even looking at one, that we don't think we need one, which is terrifying because that means they think McTominay and Fred can do it. And they can't. McTominay's not a CDM, and I don't think Fred is either. I'd love Fred to be one because I think he's got that Kante prime sort of feel to him. He's nowhere near as good as Kante, but he's small, he's tenacious, he moves across the ground well, but his passing is no better than it's just not very good, is it? Mark, can we get some tactic focused shows on how we can get more service for our strikers and tactics on playing possession football against the big four, says Angie S. I wouldn't do that, Angie, because I wouldn't want to teach people to suck eggs, which if you don't know what that means, it means like you lot know as much as I know in relation to there'd be no point in me going to here and starting to move all this about because the manager's got to do it. That's what the manager's got to do. And yeah, I have sympathies with Solskjaer, I've got to say. With Pogba injured and his reluctance to use Van der Beek, let's take Chelsea for example on Sunday. We will play McFred and they will play just in front of Maguire and Lindelof, and we will play deep. And we will probably play Dan James and Marcus Rashford off the wing for pace. And we will isolate Bruno. And we will not move the ball quickly from back to front. If Paul Pogba was playing, he might be able to do that. If you had a CDM who can take the ball off the back four and feed the attack quick, you could probably do that. If you had a quicker centre-back that you could play higher up the pitch, you could get higher up the pitch quicker. Man United need to get from back to front quicker. Now, they either need a quick centre-back to push the line up, which they don't have when Maguire and Lindelof play, so we play deep, and it's simple maths. If your defensive line is on the edge of the penalty box and you've got to get to the other penalty box, that's a large difference. If your centre-back is near the halfway line, then you are a lot closer to the opposition's goal. It's like playing American football, isn't it? And you get your yardage. United need to move higher up the pitch with their defensive line, but we can't do it with Maguire and Lindelof. Also, if you've got a CDM who takes the ball off Maguire and Lindelof and can turn and play a 30, 40, 20, 10-yard pass forward quickly so that the opposition are not in position, then you can move up the pitch quicker. The problem is United don't move up high enough or quick enough with the ball to exploit teams not being in position. And that's simply what it is. So the doing a tactics show is pretty poor because it is that simple. And the thing is, it's not rocket science because we've seen it. Watch Everton, watch Man United Everton at Goodison Park just before Christmas in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Watch the first half an hour. Tell me how many times Everton get out that half. We're playing on the halfway line with Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire, and we're squeezing the life out of them. And that's what United need to do. Do you know anything about young midfielder from Valencia? Says Pogba. Says Jason. Musa. I don't know. No, I don't. I don't know whether it's a rude name, you see. Would you prioritise a centre-back or a CDM in the summer, says Chase? I mean, I don't like those questions, Chase, because it's one or the other. And it's a bit like saying, would you prioritise a glass of water or a hamburger when you're thirsty and hungry? We need both. We do need both. And if we don't get one, next season we'll be saying, we need this. And I don't want to go into next season. My absolute aim, but my big fear is that I don't want to be sat here next season saying we're not ready to win a title because we haven't got a centre-back or we haven't got a CDM. But I think we will. I think one of those positions will not get filled, probably the CDM. So therefore, next season, when Man City are stronger, Liverpool have got their injured players back, Chelsea are stronger, and they've got all the players in all the positions because they have, we will be saying, how can we win this league when we haven't got a player that we needed there? And this has been going on at United for a long time. It was going on before Woodward was CEO. It was going on with Sir Alex. Anyone who can remember I think it was Sir Alex Ferguson himself who used to come out and say it, but it definitely used to be the line. We needed a midfielder. We were fed up of playing Cleverley and Anderson. We needed a top-class midfielder. There's no value in the market. That genuinely used to come out of the mouth of somebody at Man United. I think it was Sir Alex, but it definitely used to get put out there. There's no value in the market. We would be desperate for a midfielder, quality midfielder. There's no value in the market. So this has been going on, Glazonomics, for a long time. Okay. Hi, Mark. Ideally, how many centre-backs do we need in the squad? Because don't want to have the same problem to Liverpool because of injuries, says Daniel Bazans. Well, Maguire will be here next year. I think Lindelof will be here next year. Twansebi will be here next year. A new centre-back will hopefully be here next year. That's four centre-backs. Whether Eric Bailly will be here next year, maybe not. I mean, if Eric Bailly goes, that's another 15 million quid, isn't it? So we might be, if Lindelof goes, that's another 15 million. Maybe we should be looking at one of them going. Because if we've got to sell to buy, get rid of the surplus players that we've got too many of. Harsh. I don't remember the United philosophy as I was young, but did United play possession football or direct attacking football without importance to possession, says Aritro. Look, I think if you got Sir Alex Ferguson football at Manchester United, you'd be salivating. You'd be so happy. I just remember it really stands out on European nights, but we used to do it on Premier League nights as well. I just remember the one thing that always used to jump out at me was that you'd know when United were on it, because in the first 5 minutes you'd have Beckham, Gary Neville overlapping, Scholesy getting into the box, crosses coming in, getting the crowd up early, and getting at teams. Now football's moved on, of course it is. But United were brilliant down the wings. Whether it was Giggs, Irwin, whether it was Evra, whether it's Beckham, Ronaldo, Gary Neville. We were brilliant down the wings. That's what we were. And we were brilliant at getting midfielders into the box with the strikers and the number 10s or whatever they were. So we were very good. We've always been very good at counter-attacking. That is part of United, counter-attacking, because you've got to defend sometimes. But we were never a team under Sir Alex Ferguson. We did do it sometimes. Away in Europe, we would do it. Sometimes we'd do it against Arsenal. But the vast majority of Sir Alex Ferguson football was, risk-taking, using the flanks, quick movement of the ball, trying to overwhelm teams. And remember as well, it's very easy to try and overwhelm a team and push players forward when you've got Rio and Vidic as your centre-backs. Because they literally would just be, go forward, crack on, we're fine. So, yeah, United would try and overwhelm teams, and they were very good at it. And we're very different to that at the moment. Hi, Mark. Ideally, how many centre-backs do we need in the squad? I've done that one, sorry. And Mojo says, Mark, what about James Garner? Can he solve our CDM issues? Is having a good loan spell? Well, look, he's 19 years of age, Mojo. I mean, Steven Gerrard at 19 years of age, and he didn't go on loan, did he? He just broke through. Steven Gerrard was not running Liverpool's midfield at 19 or 20. He gradually got better and better. So even if Garner could replicate what Gerrard did, that's a huge ask to bring him back next season and stick him in our midfield. He won't be ready for that. So I want Garner to be a Man United player of the future, I do. Personally, I think he might well need another loan next year, maybe with a Premier League club. I think that would be great for his development. But even if we think he can be part of the first team setup next year, he's not going to be ready to be a first teamer next year, is he? So it's still going to be Matic, McFred, isn't it? And I don't think that is good enough. We need a CDM. I think we need to buy one. Hi, Mark. Mali plays very fluent football at Cam for Paris FC. Seems to be have settled quickly for a youngster, says Mohammed. And what about Zakaria or Tonali at CDM? Well, he is available, of course. Zakaria is available. He's got 1 year left on his contract. I don't think Manchester United are looking at him, if I'm honest with you. Really like the content, says Ibrahim. Always puts a smile on my face. Thank you very much. Make sure you smash a like on the video, by the way. Let's see if we can get 2,000 likes. But more importantly, make sure you subscribe. Bottom right hand corner, we're on 992,000. It's that final push now. If you've not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. help us get up to that massive number of 1 million, which is going to be amazing, absolutely amazing, and all because of you. So please subscribe, bottom right hand corner. And if you have subscribed, please share the video, because you can click something and like the video. It can help. It can help. We need to loan players to the Premier League clubs, not the Championship, says Joshua. No, there's nothing wrong with loaning players to the Championship, because remember, this is what Man City did, and this is what Chelsea did. Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, Reece James, all very good players, all went on loan to the Championship. The Championship is, I'd say the Championship is better than the French League. Now, people are going to go, oh, he's an idiot. But take PSG, take a couple of teams out of that French League, and I think most Championship clubs would give them a game. Obviously, PSG are one of the best teams in the world, but the Championship is ridiculously competitive. It's one of the most, I think it's the most watched second tier league in the world, and I think it's the most competitive league, second tier league in the world. It's relentless, it's physical, it's brilliant for a young player to go and play, because what it lacks in technical ability, it makes up in physical. And physicality is what your young players need, because playing under 18 football, playing under 23 football, you're playing against people your own age. When you go into men's football, you might be playing a hardened, seasoned CDM who's in his late 20s, early 30s, who probably can't get around as quick as they used to, but they're streetwise, they position themselves, and they're going to give you a bit of muscle. I don't mean that muscle. So I think it's brilliant for Ghana to be, and I think it's great for Mengi as well, and every other player we've got on loan who goes in the Championship. The key is to play first team football. At Watford, he was playing, but then he was out of the team. At Forest, he's playing every game. They love him. He's doing really, really well. I'm getting loads of good reports, because obviously I'm from Nottingham. My phone, every time Ghana plays, I'm getting messages. He's done it again. He's been brilliant. So, I mean, I haven't watched him play for Forest yet, but they are playing Derby on Friday night on the TV, so I'm probably going to keep an eye on that whilst we're live. Welcome to the Members Club, Saham. Thank you very much. And we need to send Fred to the Championship, says Kevin. I won't go that far. I think that when it comes to people like Fred and Dan James and maybe Scott McTominay and certainly Victor Lindelof, I think people are like, get rid of him, get rid of him, get rid of him. But remember, there is something called a bench. Donny certainly knows about it. You've got to have bench players, and it's very difficult to have a world-class bench or a top-class bench, because players who are top-class don't want to sit on the bench. Now, well, look at Lukaku. He didn't want to sit on the bench at Man United, and he went. Now, Lindelof might be happy to sit on the bench, and he'll still get to play probably 20, 30 games a season because injuries, etc. Fred, off the bench, will still get to play a lot of games. McTominay off the bench will still play a lot of games. Dan James, as an impact sub, could play a lot of games. I'm not saying sell any of these players. I just think that they're probably not first teamers. Lindelof's not. I don't think Fred is if you get a competent CDM. Look, McTominay might be a first teamer. I think it's a big ask to take that box-to-box role off Paul Pogba and be a top 4 standard box-to-box player. I don't know about that, but I certainly think that these players have got a very important part to play. I think we need to be careful about sell this player, sell that player. If it's the right price and it makes the sense that, look, a lot of people would say sell Dan James because you've got Diallo, you've got Palestri, you've got some young players coming through, and they're going to be better than Dan James, and he's taken up a bench spot. I can understand that one, but maybe not. There's nothing wrong being on the bench, says Marvin. There's nothing wrong with being on the bench. Our manager was basically a bench player, and Nicky Butt played a lot of time on the bench. Phil Neville, John O'Shea, Wes Brown, very, very good players. I think the difference between, well, look at Liverpool's bench. It's never been that good. Very, very good starting 11, but not a great bench. And now they're suffering because of that, because of the injuries they've had. To be fair, I think Spurs and Chelsea have got a better bench than Liverpool. They haven't got a better first team and they haven't got a better coach, but they have got a better bench. And I think that your bench can be very, very important. Martial and some cash for Haaland. I don't know that Dortmund would be massively interested in swap deals like that, because Martial's 25. His sell-on value doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think Dortmund like to buy players that are going to be the next big thing, and they're not short of doing that. Having said that, they did take that lad before, didn't he? The one who used to bang in loads of goals in Spain. I don't know where he is now. He might still be there. Is it Alcazar? Always used to be on Team of the Week on Football Ultimate Team. FIFA Ultimate Team. So I don't know. I think with Martial, it's a very sad state. Martial just makes me feel sad, because I really like Martial, And as a fan of Martial, it's just very, very clear that there is a problem with Martial at the moment, and I don't know what it is. And I said it, I'm not going to keep repeating this, but I think Martial's future will be decided by Martial. He might just say, I want to go. And if he wants to go, I think United will let him go. And if he does go, I think a swap deal of some sort is best for Martial, because I'm not sure we'll get the value for Martial in the market. He's not the same as David De Gea, because I think David De Gea offers more than Martial long term, weirdly. But he is on a big wage. Martial's on a lot of money. And the thing that Man United will have with Martial that's difficult is that if they sell Martial, someone's got to give him 250k a week, which is a lot of money. It's nowhere near as much as what De Gea's on, but it's huge. 250k a week. Not many clubs can afford that. It's massive. Man City don't play most of their players that. So Martial on 250k a week is a lot of money to get rid of. It's a lot of money for somebody to take for a player, ultimately, who's not playing well. So how do you sell Martial? And also you probably want... He's got a lot of years left on his contract, so you probably want... A year ago, you would have got touching on 80, 90 million for Martial. He was playing that well. Now, you'd be lucky to get 40. So... Man United could have a problem with Martial. He has come out before and said he wanted to go. Remember about, was it 2 summers ago? His agent said it might be time for him to go when he was having problems with his contract. So the history is there that he will say it. And if he says it, United are in trouble. They won't get the value for him. So I think with Martial, the best way to do the value probably would be as part of a swap deal. But we're a long way from that. Hi Mark, how are you having a great, and who would you, Jack Keane says, hi Mark, hope you're having a great night, and who would you take 70 million for, Ndidi or 100 million for Rice? Who would be the better CDM for Man United? I would not pay 100 million pounds for Declan Rice. He's not 100 million pounds. I saw somebody on about this the other day, has Declan Rice had a name change? He's not 100 million pounds. So I'd take Ndidi. But I don't really think Ndidi or Declan Rice are worth any more than 60 million. I think it's ridiculous. They're centre defensive midfielders. Since when was a centre defensive midfielder worth that sort of money? And people will say, well, Van Dijk and Maguire, and they're absolutely right. But I think the prices for these sort of players have gone stupid. You shouldn't have to pay. Well, if Sancho goes for 80 or 90 million, why would you be paying 80, 90 million for a CDM? Look, football is about goals. It's about assists. And a striker or a creator should be way more money, if I'm honest, than a CDM. But I do like him. I will take Locatelli, says Ihab. Van der Beek is the box to box next season, says Ryan. Hopefully he will get that opportunity. And we could try to buy Kimpembe, couldn't we? Says Jaden. I do like Kimpembe, but I don't think he's going to be available. And we should get Zakaria. Yeah, a few people talking about him. What about Ndombele? Would love him in our midfield, but would be difficult deal, says Bradley. Yeah, I don't think it's very easy to do. It's like saying let's get Son. It's very difficult to do deals with rivals, isn't it? Hi Mark, could we play a false 9 if we get a good CDM and a centre back in the summer? We will have a lot of creativity from midfield. Love from South Africa, says Humish. You know what? I don't even like Man City's style of football. I find it a bit boring. I always have, even when he was manager of Barcelona. I just don't like ticky-tacky football. I don't. And people will say, well, you're an idiot. But you know what? Some people don't like a fine red wine. Some people don't like caviar. This is fine dining and they don't like it. So I'm not disputing that the way Pep plays football is fine football, but I just don't really like it. But what I would say is, when Pep rolls up to Old Trafford and plays a false 9, or wherever he plays a false 9, there is no way that is high-end coaching to do that. To play with a false 9 involves massive amount of work on the training ground. I don't think it's as simple as saying, I can just play a false 9. We are struggling as a coaching system to establish our own way of playing, which is why, against the big teams, we revert to a very easy way of playing, which is deep and counter-attacking football. Counter-attacking football is the easiest way to play football in the world, because you're basically just saying to your team, get behind the ball, when you win it, try and hit it quick and run at them in the space. Playing with a false 9 takes a lot of coaching. I don't think we are ready as a coaching staff to start playing football with a false 9, because it involves so much. Everyone's got to be in sync, Everyone's got to know how to press together. Everyone's got to know where to pass because you haven't got that number 9. So yeah, I don't think we'd be at that stage of doing that, to be honest with you. Everyone like and subscribe, says Alfie Smith. Thank you very much. And how do you feel about Ollie having Tyrone Mings on his wish list again? Synth, it makes me want to cry. It really makes me want to cry. And Martial would thrive in a false 9, says Victor. Well, he almost does it anyway. He drops so deep at times, doesn't he? I think that's one of the things that always frustrates about Martial when he plays at number 9 is that he does come too deep. That's what she said. But no, he does. And Cavani does know how to play the number 9 role, which I think is, you need that focal point. United don't suit playing with a false 9 at the moment. 50 million in Jesse for Declan Rice, said somebody there. Thanks for the super chat, Greg. He says, United have a slashing, electric, attacking legacy. You know it well, Mark. To do that humbly, I feel we need more creative wingers, not strikers. Yeah, we're crying out for a winger who can create things. And I think you will get a different Man United when you get that. Martial will score more goals at Man City, says AK. Well, yeah, of course he will. But Harry Maguire would be a better centre-back at Man City. David De Gea would be a better goalkeeper at Man City. Bruno Fernandes, as hard as it is to believe, would be a better number 10 at Man City. Man City are a better team. They've got better players. They've got a better coach. They've got a better system. So anybody's... you can't say Martial would be better than Man City and he's shit at United because of the coaching. That's not the issue. The reality is that Man City are a complete team with a complete coaching setup and they've got everything. As I said, Pep Guardiola at Man United would not make Martial better because he would have the same issues that Ollie's got. We probably would play a bit better football, but I don't think we would be able to create loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of more chances because he still wouldn't have a winger who can create. He wouldn't have a centre-back that he can play a high line with. Maybe he'd pick Bay. And he certainly, what Pep would hate at United is he hasn't got a centre defensive midfielder to knit it all together, which is something that's very important in a Pep Guardiola system. If you think at Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Man City, he likes that player who knits it all together from the deep midfield position, and he wouldn't have it at United. So yeah. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We're on that road to 1 million, so bottom right hand corner to do that. Smash a like on the video, and remember, you can get 40% off. 40% off, boohoo man. I'm wearing some of the active range here. It really is good quality stuff. I love it for a little bit of fitness and a run or a walk. But it is. They're really good. They're really good for the price. So links in the video description. 40% off. Give it a click. Sort yourself out with some clobber. Remember to use United Stand, all one word, as the checkout code. You get 40% off. You'll be amazed what you can get with that discount. Check it out. Links in the video description. And I'll speak to you all soon.